Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and when I saw this story, I gotta tell you, I was not surprised at all. Upset, enraged, you betcha. Surprised? No, no, I was not. Also, not surprised that this is happening in New York. What seems to be first. I'm not sure if this is going on anywhere else in the country, but the New York State school system has now decided, yeah, we're going to put facial recognition into your child's school. And there's going to be a lot I have to say about this. Now, this is the Lockport School. Um, First of all, not a huge fan of BuzzFeed. However, just like I tell everybody, you got to look at all media outlets, all stories, because there are hints of truth and worthy news in just about every single one of them. Now, you notice this isn't being focused on as a national story. So the Lockport City School District is doing this. Now, the big complaint that's being spun here is that, well, it's not standardized yet. It's not standardized across the board yet. First of all, I don't care if it's standardized. I don't want it to be standardized. I want it out of the school systems. All the way out of the school system. So what is this being done under the guise of? Why in the world would they not want facial recognition in your kid's school? Well, it's very ironic to me that they are pointing to keeping sex offenders out. Abusers. You understand? Of different levels. Now, think about that. If they really wanted to deter that type of behavior, in my opinion, and we're going to read that in a moment, why aren't we giving life sentences to the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world? Tell me that. Or the Bryan Singers of the world, or the R. Kellys of the world, which I'll be doing a separate video on today, who it's now just come out in court that there are likely many other tapes out there of Mr. Kelly. And the FBI, according to this testimony, has them. So why is this guy on the street still? Can you explain that to me? I've been talking about this for 15 years with Mr. Kelly, maybe more, on the air, probably about at least 14 or 15 years, depending on whatever shows I was going on and research I was doing. However, still on the streets. They do an entire series on it. Still on the streets. But they want to put facial recognition cameras in your kids' schools to deter this type of behavior and catch these type of predators. I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. And in this release, they're also going to make the claim, oh, don't worry. We're not going to identify or track your child's movements or the teachers there. That's not for them. But that's not how facial recognition works, does it? No, you have to have the entire body scanning against one another and looking for certain things. See, if you're not scanning the faces, you won't know. And if you're going to tell me that this data is not going to be kept, not going to be analyzed, not going to be put into this track trace database system where they literally profile your entire life, and the little magic box here in your child's pocket, okay, that's going to give them location data on top of the facial recognition and the movements and every other biometric data that's out there. But no, they won't keep that. Don't worry. This is just for the predators. So let's read it. And remember, not standardized. They're at least trying to use that excuse for it not to come in. This is coming into airports. We've done a lot of work over at News for a Change on these biometrics and over at We Are Change as well. Okay, this is going about as mainline as you can imagine. I promise you. So if you want to see more on that, you can go to We Are Change. There's one right there where they were actually using in New York City. They thought that the camera footage, actually, check this out. So they thought that the camera footage, the guy looked like Woody Harrelson. Okay. Now, they couldn't figure him out. They couldn't find him out. This is a lot how biometrics, facial recognition works. So they couldn't get a match. So what did? They fed the system in with pictures of Woody Harrelson. And then they did make an arrest. Now, think about that. They didn't say whether they got a conviction. They didn't say whether the guy was guilty. They didn't say whether he confessed. But they made an arrest based on them watching a video, thinking the guy looked like Woody Harrelson, putting pictures of Woody Harrelson into a database, coming up with a number of matches, and then arresting one of those matches. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. So let's just read this. Remember, this is coming to your child's school, Lockport City School Districts in my state of New York. I got to get out of this state. I've got to get out of this state. I've got to find an exodus. The Lockport City School District is committed to protecting the safety of the district's students, staff, and visitors. The district has implemented a range of security measures in the past, including installation of security cameras throughout the district's buildings and property many years ago, hardening the school's entrances, placement of armed security guards in several schools, and an increase in the number of school counselors, social workers, and behavior intervention specialists. Now, I do believe they did have a shooting scare some years back in this district, but again, they're not really talking about that aspect for the quote-unquote facial recognition here. The district has also recently implemented the Raptor ID system at school building entrances, which reviews the government-issued identification presented by building visitors and alerts if the visitor is a national sex offender database or in any other custom alert category. Custom alert categories. Think about this. Now, if you're in a government database for anything, it is going to be, now again, the illusion of sex offenders. Riddle me this. Why do sex offenders keep getting light sentences and getting in and out of prison? Why do they always have multiple offenses? Why are these traffickers not prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law? The latest case being Claire Brofman, the billionaire, that somehow was able to plead down to a sentence of 21 to 72 months, and if it goes more than 27 months, she could appeal that hearing, and $6 million in fines. Get out of here. If you read the indictments and what she's accused to have been doing, forget about the campaign fraud and money laundering to the Hillary Clinton primary campaign all the way back in 2007 when she was getting to run for president the first time. Forget about that. That crime alone probably should constitute more years in prison than the sentence she got. But how about getting visas for women who were clearly not what she said they were, so that they could teach at children's schools called the Rainbow Cultural Garden, a coalition of nursery schools where these women were portrayed as teachers to teach these young kids different languages, of course all nonsense, so that they could be trafficked amongst Raniere and others. And this made its way all the way down into Mexico and all the way into Europe, over in California as well. Done plenty of stuff on that. Why aren't there life sentences for these people? Forget about being in a database. This is insane. And yet, now we're expected to just go along with this. Oh, they could be in any custom category. Don't worry, we'll have the facial recognition right there. A key additional component of the district's approach to school security is the implementation of the AEGIS facial and object recognition system. The district application for installation of this system was approved by the New York State Smart Schools Review Board in November of 2017, in conjunction with approval that same month from the New York State Education Department for the district's capital project, through which the system has now been implemented. It is important to understand what the system does and doesn't do. Oh, is it? Does and doesn't do. Well, please tell me, because you know what? We really want more surveillance of our children by the state. That sounds like a great idea. And you don't think that private corporations that are sending these in and working with the government are also selling that data to other corporations? Get out of here. Of course it is. Big data is real. It is very much here. And the profiling of every single human being, cradle to grave, is taking place right now. Right now, we're seeing it. This system does not complete information on and track the movements of all district students, staff, and visitors. Instead, the system is limited to identifying whether an individual whose photograph has been entered into the system database is on district property, i.e. is visible on one of the district security cameras. The individuals who may be entered into the database pursuant to adopted district policy include those who are prohibited from being on district property, such as suspended students or staff. Oh, so now it's suspended students or staff as well. You see how they spin that? sex offenders. Oh, and now it's students or staff, but remember, they're not watching the regular students and staff. But however, if you've been suspended, well, they've got you in the database. But I thought we weren't databasing these kids. Huh? Think about the double speak, the Orwellian nightmare of this. The individuals who may be entered in the database pursuant to the adopted district policy include those who are prohibited from being on district property. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that. Level 2 or 3 sex offenders, any individuals prohibited from entering district property by court order, and many other individuals determined to the district to present a threat based on credible information. You get it? Here it is. Oh, I see somebody in the chat room asking me what a good place to go is. I don't know. I'm thinking about Missouri. I know they just got flooded, but I'm trying to find the place that is the least amount of money to live, has the most freedoms in the country, and has the best internet. If anybody can give me that place, somewhere relatively cheap, I need to be having great internet so I can keep doing these broadcasts and bring it to you 2-3 streams at a time in high definition. This is definitely what I want to keep doing. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you're out there and watching for the first time, please hit that subscribe button, share this on social media, thumbs it up so it actually gets out there. This is an important story, a hugely important story, and not even one that's really being covered that much in the quote-unquote alternative media. And instead, many of them are too busy attacking leftists and talking about non-issues. This is an issue that doesn't matter if you're left or right. I promise you, it affects you and your children. So please share this with everybody you know. Get the info out there. I'll be doing another live stream later tonight, wrapping up Bilderberg with Eric Jackman. That should be really fun. We're going to do either 30 minutes or an hour, so make sure you tune in for that. I think we're doing that 7 p.m. Eastern if you're watching this live right now. And I may even sneak in another couple videos tonight because I think there's a lot of important stories out there. Like I said, the R. Kelly story and others that really need an update. NXIVM being one of them, the Israelis being one of them. I even got some new JFK stuff I want to do. I wish there was more time in a day. However, once again, 6 days a week, 4 times a day, you can check out my stuff over at News for a Change and We Are Change. And then here's all my personal stuff over at used to be Jason Justice 911. It is actually InfoWarrior now. YouTube.com/InfoWarrior. Share that link. Guys, thank you all so much for joining me, and I will be back on the flip.